also look towards building those fraternity, strengthening the UNIA in Costa Rica also, and her ties with Jamaica.
Welcome to our channel, Aportes Afro-Costarricenses y Diaspóricos. And this Sunday afternoon, I have the pleasure to have with me, and I know the people from the UNI in Costa Rica will be very happy to have on the platform Mr. Stephen Golden, who is president of the UNIA in Jamaica. So before conversing with Mr. Golden, just let me read a short bio, very short because this man is very accomplished. Stephen Golden is a Pan-African leader and professor of Garveyism. He's a passionate orator and advocate for reparation and African unity. He is the president of the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League from 2008 until the present. He has spent over a decade rebuilding the UNIA-ACL, founded in 1914 by Jamaica's first national hero, the Right Excellent Marcus Mossiah Garvey. So thank you so much, Stephen, for gracing us with your presence this afternoon.
Muchas gracias, Carmen. Thanks for having me. Hola, ¿cómo están to your viewers? It's a pleasure to be here. Of course, the UNIA Kingston Division maintains very close relationships with the UNIA Division in Port Limon. So greetings to our brothers and sisters of the Division 300 and to their president, El Presidente Winston Norman and others. You know, we send salutations, one God, one aim, one destiny.
Very good. Okay. So, all right, let's dive into the questions that I have for you for this conversation this afternoon. And first of all, in your bio, your very extensive bio, we learned that you are a son of a former prime minister. So could you elaborate or, share with us, especially in this part of the world that we don't really have a lot of now in this, I guess from the mid 20th century, we don't have that same connection that we used to have with the Caribbean. So please, just tell us a little about your father.
My father is Bruce Golding. He was the 8th Prime Minister of Jamaica, serving in that capacity between 2007 and 2011. The current Prime Minister, Andrew Holness, was his successor as leader of the Jamaica Labour Party, one of the 2 major political parties on the island. My dad is now retired and enjoying his grandchildren while doing a fellowship with the University of the West Indies.
Oh, very good. Okay, so I am in the presence of great person right now. Okay, so tell us, share your journey and how it led you on becoming the president of the UNIA and the African Communities League.
Wow. I joined the UNIA while I was living in New York. I traveled to the United States from as early as the age of 16 to pursue an education. Went to university at Johns Hopkins in Baltimore, graduated, moved to New York City. And it was while living in Harlem that I found that the UNIA division in New York still existed. And so I joined the division, then was headquartered in Brooklyn, the A.L. Crawford division. And it was then under the presidency of Marcus Garvey Jr., the son of the Right Excellent Marcus Garvey, who at the time was also the President General of the UNIA and the ACL. So that was in 1999. And I came home, I returned home in 2004. and registered my membership with the division here in Kingston. It was then led by then Deacon Wulde Madin, who later became Abba Wulde Madin, the only monk priest in the Ethiopian Orthodox Church here in Jamaica, or the only Jamaican ordained as a monk priest in the Ethiopian Orthodox Church here in Jamaica. He was succeeded by Frank Gordon, who became president the same year I returned, 2004. And I succeeded Brother Gordon in 2008. But you know, from I returned in 2004, I was very active with the division, having been in a division in the United States, having worked with some of the elders there, and I came back then young and young and stronger, and energetic and enthusiastic, and looking to help build up the division here. So we did a lot of work in terms of getting the UNIA established, particularly in the colleges, you know, because we are a confraternity, and fraternities have a special place on college campuses. So that's where the focus was. And I did a lot of that before I took up office as a part of the division. You know, I maintained my membership with the New York division up until 2006. So really I couldn't run for office, but in 2007, I was elected vice president under Frank Gordon and succeeded him in 2008. And I have been the president of the division here since then. I mean, that's 14 years this year.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm looking towards the future and my successor. So I'm very happy with some of the young men and women that particularly have come out of our college chapters who have remained active with the division. I mean, some have gone abroad to study further, some have gone on to their career, but we try to maintain a strong network of our members so that when they are ready to serve, the division is here for them to serve.
Oh, that is good, especially, you know, we have to feed the organizations with younger people, because as much as we would like to stay forever and do all sorts of things, you still need, you know, the next generation. But despite what you just tell me about the chapters in the colleges, what you would say is the impact of the UNIA today in Jamaica?
The UNIA holds a very significant and nostalgic place. I mean, it was founded by our first national hero, the Right Excellent Marcus Mossiah Garvey, and it has always been active. Even during the time that he was in the United States, up until the time that he returned in the late 20s, early 30s, and still active after he went to England, and even after his passing in 1940. There have always been UNIA divisions active in Jamaica and working, sometimes more than at other times, but the Kingston division has maintained a stable consistency from 1914 until this time. I mean, so this year we celebrate our 108th anniversary.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, the programs have varied over the time. Certainly a lot of people look at it as a historic organization, but essentially we must remember what we were created to be, a brotherhood and sisterhood for the race. You know, it's a little different because we're in a country that is majority African descended. So that brotherhood and sisterhood takes on a sort of different configuration and a different context, you know. For a long time, you had Jamaicans who really looked at this organization as sort of these Pan-African organizations, you know, whether they're cultish-like as they associated Rastafarianism within the early day, or whether they were about black power. You know, there's a certainty when you live in a country predominantly of black people, because many of us still have a colonized mindset, you know. But certainly the work that Marcus Garvey did and the UNIA has done over the last century is a part of why we have consistently been here. You know, I didn't build the UNIA, and the UNIA will still be here after I am gone. And that's one thing I'm confident about.
Yeah, that's the idea. That's the idea, right? Okay, what for the international listeners, like for those of us who would like to go and visit Jamaica and like to go to the UNIA or to the Liberty Hall, where it is located in Jamaica?
Liberty Hall is located the same place that we built it in 1923. And when I say we, I mean the Kingston division of the UNIA. It's at 76 King Street in Kingston proper, what Jamaicans like to call downtown, but it's really Kingston proper. We have also a restaurant that we operate in New Kingston at 2 Trafalgar Road in the Small Business Association, because that property was also owned at one time by the Right Excellent Marcus Mossiah Garvey. We have another Liberty Hall in Resource, which is operated by Division 695 of the UNIA, the Resource Division. And we have a number of other places of significance, such as 38 Lady Musgrave Road, which is Somali Court, which was the home that Marcus Garvey bought when he started his family and being returned here, which is right across the street from our restaurant and right across from the other property he owned and operated his private businesses from. So we've tried to maintain those significant and historic places, maintain whether in preserving them or maintaining whether in having a presence there. We did work with the government and the tourism development company in constructing the storyboards also for the birthplace of Marcus Garvey, which has been in contention for a number of years in terms of the government acquiring it and setting it up as a proper national historic site, because there were people living on the site that had to be relocated. But I think all of that has been cleared up. We were asked to do the storyboards for it. And so we look towards the Ministry of Culture completing that project sometime soon.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. Okay, the last question, so not to, eat up your Sunday afternoon with your family. You mentioned at the beginning, you send greetings to the branch 300 in Port Limon, Costa Rica, but I would like to know if the majority of the people in Jamaica or in the organization of the UNIA knew of or know of the existence of people of African descent in Costa Rica, and they are so connected with the
Yes. Well, in 2014, when we had the centenary of the organization, we celebrated our 100th anniversary. And every year, the Jamaica division here hosts the UNIA Marcus Garvey Awards. And so for that year, it was very special being our 100th anniversary. And so we hosted then the acting potentate of the UNIA, the President General of the UNIA, Cleophas Miller, at that time, and also President Winston Norman came from Costa Rica. And so they were our guests, both at the function and for a few days traveling around the island, visiting the other branches and divisions of the UNIA here. And one of the things we did with President Norman was to pay a visit and pay a courtesy call on the mayor of Kingston, as well as we did 2 TV programs. So it was at that time that a lot of Jamaicans heard from him about the presence of Jamaicans in Limon and the history and the work and the activities of the UNIA still present there today. So I'm not sure if before 2014 how widely it was known, but it certainly became very widely known then. And since then, I've even heard of Jamaicans, present day Jamaicans visiting Limon. I believe our Minister of Foreign Affairs was in Costa Rica the other day. I'm not sure if she had made it out to Limon, but she was certainly aware of the fact that Jamaicans had a presence in Limon.
Well, that is so good, because one of our early programs, we spoke with a reverend. Now he's a Jamaican, and then he's from the Anglican Church, and he was posted here, a young guy. He studied at UWI and thing, and I asked him if they knew anything about us, and he said the only thing that, sadly, he said the only time that he heard about Costa Rica was some program they were having about Marcus Garvey and some of his trips, and they mentioned Costa Rica, and that was the first time he was hearing that. So
Yeah,
that
he's probably talking about the film The Promised Ship.
mm,
But yeah, you know, you have different sectors and segments of the Jamaican society, some more interested in certain topics than others. But I would say certainly the Pan-Africanists in Jamaica know of Limon, particularly because of the work of the UNIA. And from the fact that Limon is one of the places where we had um, um, a Liberty Hall dating back so many years. So even the Liberty Hall here in Jamaica is aware of the Liberty Hall there. I know there was a fire and I know there's efforts to reconstruct, and we wish them well with that. But even the presence of that Liberty Hall was another reason for there to be that connection and that linkage between us, you know, and we're aware of other places on the Central American strip. You know, there's a Liberty Hall in Belize. We're aware of places like Bluefields in Nicaragua, San Andreas in Colombia, other places, which from time to time come in the media here. But again, if people are not really interested in certain things, they don't pay too much attention. Certainly when the Costa Rican football team comes here, and there are some, and sometimes there are Jamaicans, you know, Costa Ricans with Jamaican heritage who come visiting Jamaica, looking at the roots of their ancestors who had gone over to Costa Rica. Some of them are here sometimes during the football matches and so forth. So people know and they hear, and if they want to know, they will hear.
okay. Well, that is so good to hear because, you know, I think we especially today with the technology that we have, we need to, you know, foster, you know, that kind of connection that we had um, in the earlier 20th century. I know the circumstances were different, but now, you know, we are the children and grandchildren of this migration. And I don't know if you are aware, but this year we are commemorating 150 years of this migration that came over Costa Rica for the construction of the railroad and work with the northern and stuff like that. So you have different sectors of the society with organizing different stuff, and that is one of the reasons why I want to visit to see if I can get a little more information. So we are planning something for the 20th, December the 20th, because that was the date that we find officially somewhere. And
That was the arrival of the first set of Jamaicans.
yes, that well, at least that one appears in the Gazeta Oficial, you know, it is the official newspaper. So that is what we found. So, you know, just for y'all, so that you could pass on that information to the brothers and sisters in the UNIA, and so that they will be aware of, you know, of the descendants of those people who migrated from Jamaica to Costa Rica. So 100
Yes.
years ago.
And one of the reasons we should know even more today is the fact that Costa Rica had its first Black and female vice president the other day, who has Jamaican ancestry.
Right, right. So for you to know how strong the roots are still, you know.
Yeah. Quite an accomplishment, as we say, wherever we go, we little but we talawa.
That is so true. And I actually want to write a paper about that because anywhere Jamaicans are, they stand out. They stand out. You know, and I think it passed through the genes also, the DNA.
Of course.
Stephen, I want to say thank you so much for the space that you provided, that you lent me this afternoon.
No, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yes, and you know, so hopefully we will continue other discussions and, you know, and forge those linkages to strengthen that connection between Costa Rica and Jamaica.
Yes,
Gracias.
And let's also look towards building those fraternity, strengthening the UNIA in Costa Rica also, and her ties with Jamaica. Thanks for having me, Carmen. It's been a pleasure.
Gracias.
Somos voces de la historia, sangre, tinta y papel. Somos voces de la historia, mis ancestros, su saber, mis ancestros, su saber, mis ancestros, su saber.